Welcome back to the train room. Eric here with you. And today we'll be taking a look at Chicago Crossing Model Railroad and specifically 4 things about the layout that really make it work, especially as a small 3-foot by 7-foot, almost beginner-sized layout. And the word beginner is on purpose. This is my first layout. In many ways, I'm really still a beginner. So let's dive into the track plan of the layout, and this is a great way to get some context. So Chicago Crossing was built essentially off of a track plan I found on the internet. I don't remember where. This was sometime back in 2016. I just kind of liked the look of the thing, and it had a lot of what I wanted, which frankly wasn't all that sophisticated. First off, it has 7 different industries and an interchange track associated with the yard. This gives a lot of switching opportunity, and this is really what I wanted in a layout. However, I didn't do a lot of research, unlike most folks, and I didn't really know what it was I was going to model. It's actually not until recently that I began to put the pieces together and make decisions as to what it was that the layout represents. This is backwards relative to how most people do it, where they research a railroad intensively and then come up with the idea as to what it is that they're representing. Aside from industries and switching, the other thing I wanted to make sure of is that I had metro service. And so what I did is place metro stations at opposite ends of the layout for passenger work. And so altogether, Chicago Crossing gives a nice representation of Chicago. You can see quite a few industries and quite a bit of track nestled in, but also green space and areas that help let the layout kind of breathe so that it doesn't feel too crowded. And of course, the Chicago River presents kind of a big dividing area between the north and south sides of the city, as it does in real life. So let's dive into 4 things that make this layout, in my opinion, work well. So first off is the branch line. This is probably my favorite aspect of Chicago Crossing Model Railroad. And in the track plan, the branch line is wonderful because it comes in from the back of the layout and has a large sweep forward into center stage. And it serves 3 different industries, the scrapyard and then 2 factories. And what this provides is the opportunity to really model last mile operations. In other words, the chance to move a train, especially a short one, independently of action on the main line. And the branch line itself is actually really scenic too. The other advantage of the branch line is it terminates in probably one of my favorite signature scenes on the layout, which is the large factory where the trains can move essentially almost as a street run into the grass and then drop off a boxcar or something like that in the loading bay and then move back out. So in addition to the branch line, another component of the layout that I think really works is the asymmetry of the main line. You can see here that the main line is shaped almost like an old World War I tank, and so nothing on there is uniform. It's not an oval. And what this gives is an opportunity to really rail fan trains as you would see them in real life. Nothing is predictable. This is particularly effective for passenger service. the trains come to you, and it's just a nice visual. In addition, in the rear of the layout, there's a gentle curve that sort of sweeps in front of the station, and especially for longer passenger trains and things like that, you really get kind of a scenic movement of the train. It's kind of nice to watch. So a key component of Chicago Crossing is the built environment and the angles that built environment takes. It's a small layout. The buildings are placed strategically at an angle so that the view towards the termination of the layout looks much larger than if they were simply placed head-on. And this is in part because Chicago Crossing is just flat. If you remove all the buildings, you can see every corner of the layout, and that makes it predictable, and it makes it less fun to sort of rail fan. So instead, when you have all the buildings on there, it's composed as a scene where the grain mill and the grain elevator provide a big view block, so you can't see the other side of the layout, you can't see the other metro station, and you can't see trains that are running in the other corner. This is important because everywhere you look on the layout, buildings are strategically placed so that you can't get a view of the entire layout. Trains come and go from unexpected corners, and they disappear sometimes even into sidings only to reappear when they've finally reached their spotting destination. From a photography perspective, this is wonderful because you just get little glimpses of trains moving to and from areas, including all the greenery. The south side buildings in the corner also obscure trains coming from the metro station, and the large bakery obscures views of the rail yard. Lastly, Chicago Crossing is really just a collection of small dioramas, little areas of scenic focus that help to create interest. And this is because selective compression makes it impossible to actually model all of Chicago. So here, trains are able to move seamlessly between one scene to another. The end result is that each diorama provides kind of a special little viewpoint for viewers to enjoy the layout. Each one has its own unique character. All of it helps to promote a little bit of variety so that Chicago Crossing, even though it's small, can still be interesting. And with that, those are 4 things that help make Chicago Crossing Model Railroad really work, at least in my view. And hopefully that helps you, especially if you're starting a new layout, and especially a small layout, identify some ways that you can make your layout more visually effective and more operationally effective. In the next installment, we'll look at a few things that are actually compromises that are part of a small layout, and things that may not work perfectly, because Chicago Crossing, like every railroad layout, is not necessarily perfection. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. And if you've got anything you want to learn about this layout, let me know in the comments below.